Good evening, my friends. Tonight, what I want to talk with you is something that has caused more quiet suffering than almost any other situation I have ever witnessed. And that is the experience of loving someone who is already your friend and not knowing how to cross that invisible line. I want to talk to you about how that crossing actually happens, not on the outside, but on the inside, and why the inside is the only place it can ever truly begin. So let us begin. There is a person in your life. You know exactly who I mean. You did not have to think about it. The name or the face arrived before I even finished the sentence. And there is something between you, something real, something warm, something that has already proven itself through time and through trust. You laugh together. You understand each other in ways that feel rare. There is an ease between you that most people spend years looking for and never find. And yet, there is something more. Something you carry quietly. Something that does not quite fit into the category of friendship, but that you have been holding there because you did not know where else to put it. And you have told yourself stories about it. You have said, perhaps this is just how close friendship feels. Perhaps I am reading into things. Perhaps I will ruin what we have. Perhaps I should leave it alone. I want you to notice those thoughts right now, not judge them. Just notice them, because I am going to show you something about those thoughts, something important, and that is this. They are not protecting you. They are not wisdom. They are a kind of fog. And in a little while, we are going to walk out of that fog together. But first, I want to talk about the mistake, because there is a very specific mistake that nearly everyone in this situation makes. And I want to describe it to you so clearly that you feel completely understood, because I suspect you have been making it without realizing it, and it is the one thing that is keeping this experience from changing. The mistake is this. You have been living in your friendship with this person as if what you want is not already true. You have been conducting yourself as though the love between you is one thing, and the kind of love you want is something entirely separate, something that must be applied from the outside, something that must be announced or performed or proven. You have been treating what you want as something distant, as something that must travel to you from across a great space, as something you must earn or convince or carefully arrange. And every single day that you do this, every single day that you look at this person and quietly think, I want what we do not yet have, you are, without meaning to, instructing your own inner life to keep that distance in place. That is the mistake. And I want you to really hear it, because it is not a mistake of action, it is a mistake of assumption. It is the assumption that where you are right now is a place apart from where you want to be. Now let me tell you the correction. And the correction is not a technique. It is not something you do on the outside. It is a shift, a single quiet shift in how you are holding this person in your inner life. Here is what I mean. What you have with this person right now, the warmth, the ease, the depth, the understanding, that is not something separate from romantic love. It is the very substance of it. Real love, the kind that lasts and deepens and becomes more itself over time, is made of exactly what you already have with this person. The trust, the laughter, the knowing, the safety, that is not a stepping stone to love. That is love. You are already living inside it. What you are wanting is not a different thing. What you are wanting is for the love that already exists between you to recognize itself fully, to expand into its own completeness, to stop pretending to be smaller than it is. And here is what I want you to understand about that expansion. It does not begin with them. It begins with you. It begins right here in the quiet of your own inner world, where the truth of things is established before it ever appears in the world you can see and touch. I want to give you something to say to yourself now, not later, right now as you listen. And I want you to say it as a fact, not a wish, not a hope, not a prayer, but the way you would say your own name, with complete settled certainty. Here it is. What exists between us is already love, and love knows how to find its own way. Say that to yourself now. Say it slowly. Let it land somewhere inside you, not in your thinking mind, lower than that, in the place that knows things before you can explain them. What exists between us is already love, and love knows how to find its own way. Now, some of you felt something shift just slightly when you said that. And some of you felt resistance. You felt the logical mind come forward and say, but it has not found its way yet, but nothing has changed yet. But I do not know if they feel the same way, and I want to speak to that resistance directly, because it is natural and it is not an obstacle. It is just a question. It is just the part of you that has been waiting and hoping and carrying this quietly for a long time. And that part is understandably tired. That part has been doing a great deal of work. And what I want to say to that part is this: you can rest now. You do not have to push anymore. You do not have to manage this or engineer this or be careful about this. That is not your work. Your work, the only work, is to know the truth of what already is. Let me say something about the nature of inner life that I think will help you understand this. Everything that has ever come into being in your world, every connection, every meeting, every turn of events that mattered, began somewhere in the interior. It began in the place where things are known before they are seen. And the way it began was not with urgency, not with strategy, not with a plan carefully constructed. It began with a quality of knowing, a settled, quiet certainty that this was real, that this was true, that this belonged to the life being lived. You have seen this happen. You have seen moments when you knew something, really knew it, and then watched as the outer world slowly arranged itself around that knowing. It does not happen in an instant, always. Sometimes it takes time. The way a photograph taken in the dark takes time to develop into what it already captured. But the image was always there. The truth was always there. The knowing was what made the coming into view possible. This is what I am asking you to do with this friendship, with this person, with this love. I am not asking you to pretend. I am not asking you to manufacture a feeling you do not have. What I am asking is far simpler and far more powerful than that. I am asking you to stop pretending that what you know is not true. I am asking you to stop apologizing inside yourself for what you already feel. I am asking you to carry the truth of this, the real truth, not the fearful version, the way you carry a warm lamp into a dark room, quietly, steadily, without announcement. Now I want to walk you through something, an inner experience, and I want you to stay with me here, because this is the most important part of everything I am sharing with you tonight. I want you to bring this person to mind right now, not their name, their presence, the particular quality of being with them, the way they laugh, the way they listen, the way you feel in your own skin when you are near them. Take a moment and let that feeling come forward. Do not chase it. Just open to it the way you open a window to let in the morning air. Do you feel it? That warmth, that particular specific warmth that belongs only to this person and no one else. That is not a small thing. That is not ordinary. Most people live their entire lives without ever finding a single person who calls up that feeling. And you have it right now, already, without doing anything at all. Now I want you to feel into that warmth and notice that it has no edge on it that says friendship only. It has no wall in it that separates what it is from what you want it to be. The warmth itself is neutral, open, without a ceiling. It is you, and understandably so, who has been placing it in a category. And now I want you, just for this moment, to remove the category, to let the warmth be simply what it is, unnamed, complete, yours and theirs, and shared between you in a way that has always been slightly beyond explanation. Feel that, stay with it, and now say it again to yourself, from inside that feeling. What exists between us is already love, and love knows how to find its own way. That is the posture. That is the orientation. That is the place to live from. Not once, not as an exercise, as a way of being, consistently, every time you think of this person. Now let me address something else, because I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, but what if they do not feel the same way? What if I settle into this inner knowing and nothing changes? What if I am simply living in a comfortable story while the outer world goes on as it always has? And I want to meet that question honestly, the way it deserves to be met. First, I want to say this. You cannot know what another person feels in the deep places of themselves. You know what they have shown you, and people show only what they feel safe to show. There are those who carry the same warmth you carry, and have filed it away under the same heading you have. Friendship, safety, do not disturb. The inner life of another person is not a closed book simply because the outside has not yet spoken. Second, and more important than that, the inner posture I am asking you to hold is not about controlling what another person does or does not feel. It is about what is true for you and about the effect that your own knowing has on everything around you. When you walk into a room carrying fear and suppression and apology, the quality of your presence is different than when you walk in carrying warmth and certainty and ease. You know this. You have felt this in other people. You have walked into rooms where someone was carrying something heavy, and you felt it without a word being spoken. And you have walked into rooms where someone was carrying something settled and open, and you felt that too. The quality of what you carry changes everything, not by manipulation, not by force, by simple, natural radiation. And here is the third thing I want to say to that doubt. Even if, and I want you to hear this clearly, even if the outer form of this connection never changes, the inner work you are doing right now is not wasted. It is never wasted. Learning to know what you know without apology, to feel what you feel without suppression, to carry love without fear, that is not only the path to this connection. That is the path to every good thing in your life. You are not just working on a friendship tonight. You are learning how to be fully yourself inside your own inner world. And that, my friends, changes everything. But let me now give you something practical, something you can do tonight and every night if you choose, that requires no effort and no discipline and no special circumstances of any kind. Because the best things are never complicated. When you lie down tonight just before you sleep, in that soft place between waking and sleeping, where the thinking mind loosens its grip and the deeper mind becomes more available, I want you to do one simple thing. Let your mind go to this person, not to a scene you are trying to arrange, not to a conversation you are rehearsing, not to an outcome you are trying to secure, just to them, to their presence, to what it feels like to simply be near them in whatever form that nearness takes for you. And then let yourself feel, really feel, not imagine, but feel, what it is like when the love between you has found its own full form. Not the how, not the when, not the words that were said, or the moment it happened. Just the feeling of it already being true, the warmth of it, the quiet rightness of it, the sense of something that was always real now simply being known by both of you. Stay in that feeling. Do not analyze it. Do not test it. Just rest inside it the way you rest inside a warm room on a cold night. Let your body be still. Let your breathing slow. And let the last thought that you carry down into sleep be this one. What exists between us is already love, and love knows how to find its own way. That is all. That is the whole of it. You do not need to do anything else. You do not need to plan. You do not need to be clever. Sleep is a great and powerful thing. The hours you spend in it are not empty hours. They are hours in which the deeper parts of you do their most important work, undistracted by the noise and the doubt of the waking mind. Give the truth to sleep, and let sleep carry it forward. Do this not as an experiment. Do it as a practice. Do it as a natural extension of knowing what you know. And do not watch for results the way you watch a pot on a stove. Simply live your days with that same quality of warmth, that same quality of settled knowing, that same simple certainty that what is true between you is already love. There is one more thing I want to say before we close. I have seen this situation many times, many times. I have sat with people carrying this exact thing, this love that did not fit neatly into any allowed category. And I have watched what happened when they stopped fighting it and simply let it be what it was. Not all of them watched the connection transform in the way they wanted, but every single one of them was changed by the choosing to know what they knew. Every single one of them became more fully themselves. And the ones who carried it with the most genuine ease, the ones who let the love be real inside them without grasping or fearing or pushing, those are the ones I have seen the most beautiful and surprising outcomes reach. Not because they were strategic, because they were true. Be true. That is the whole of the teaching. Do not apologize inside yourself for what you feel. Do not make it smaller to keep it safe. Do not file it under a cautious heading to protect yourself from disappointment. Carry it the way it deserves to be carried, with warmth, with certainty, with the simple dignity of something real. What exists between us is already love, and love knows how to find its own way. Say it one more time. In that place below thought, in the place that knows, and then let it rest. You have done good work tonight. You came here carrying something, and you are leaving with it held differently. That is not nothing. That is, in fact, the beginning of everything. This is the end of this lesson, my friends, and I'll see you next time.